Yeah, okay, cool. Shall I just start then, yeah?
Yeah.
Get this party moving. I don't know, are you actually in the room? Are you focusing on the job at hand, or are you mucking about with audio kit?
No, I'm focusing at the job on hand. All hand to deck.
Hi, I'm Iain, he's Ollie.
Hi.
We're both guys. We're chatting about films that make us feel wonderful. It's a Guys on Film podcast.
Feels good, right?
Huh?
Yeah, so we're talking about like films that make you feel good. Just ones that you can sit down, you can put on, and by the end of it, you're gonna feel lifted.
Lifted. Like the Lighthouse family.
Yeah, like the Lighthouse family. Yeah, that's the sort of vibe we're going for this episode.
You could be lifted.
Yeah, that you could be lifted. By the end of this, you'll be lifted. Probably airlifted to safety. So what have we got? What have we got coming up?
Well, we've got a Seggy one that you have not really told me much about at all, but you've just said that it's based around the core quiz type concept of higher or lower.
Yeah.
So the format will be me having to guess whether it's high or low, and I don't know what I'm guessing is higher or lower.
You know what? Let's keep it a secret for at least another 2 minutes.
Okay. People wait with bated breath. And then after that, we're going to do a deep dive into our top 10 films. So that's 5 each in the category Feel Good.
Yeah.
Feels good, huh?
Yeah, our feels good, huh? Films, yeah. And then we've got a live score. I've got some pre-prepared questions for Ian. Couple based on food. Well, 2 based on food actually. So should enjoy those. And then at the very end of the podcast, we've got Ian's favourite. It's the name game.
Oh yeah.
Just
Brilliant.
to like,
it's worth waiting for.
It's worth waiting for.
It's actually worth skipping for.
Yeah. Go and have a listen, and then rewind and come back.
Beginning. Remind listeners that this podcast was selected by them. It was, for me, I was ready to do Outbreak Movies Part 2 or Isolation Movies.
Yeah.
But in the current climate, you voted with your Twitter votes.
Yeah.
And we've got feel-good movies.
So what have you been calling this time? Have you been calling it the current climate, the ongoing crisis, or the current situation?
I've actually been calling it the Great Hunkering Down.
Okay.
Mother Hunker.
Yeah, cool. Well, on that, let's hunker on over into segment 1.
Guys on Film. Yeah, but guys, we're talking about film. It's the Guys on Film podcast for real. You know what guys talk about film. It's the Guys on Film podcast for real.
Ian, there's this website called Cameo. Have you heard of it?
Maybe, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to explain the website to you. So basically, what you can do is you can pay a celebrity an amount of money, and they will do like a birthday message.
This is going to be great. Wow. This is going to be great. I know it.
I mean, come on. There's a lot. You're hyping it up more than I ever could. So that basically you can pay them some money in order to get a birthday message, or like, you know, if you've come back from military service, they can give you a shout out, or for any reason. They will literally, you can pay a celebrity some money and they will shout out anything, right? Anything.
I feel, Ollie,
generally,
I'm a tiny bit worried. That we're going to do this and it's actually going to be really depressing.
There is
a feel-good episode.
There is a slight chance of depression. They'll generally be doing this like between doing other things. Often you'll watch the video and you'll go, oh, is that kind of what they look like now? Oh. I mean, some of them are pretty cool, but I mean, personally, I wouldn't pay money for it, right? I'm just saying. So I'm going to give you an in, right? I'm going to give you, this is Ian's in. So the first
If you
one,
give me an in, I'll take a mile.
Okay, so the first one is Michael Rappaport.
Can I just ask before we begin?
Yeah.
If I don't know who this celebrity is, am I allowed to just look up their face? Not on Cameo, I'm not going to look up their cost. I just maybe would need to... Are there any weird enough that I wouldn't know
For
who
the
they
purposes of this quiz, if you don't know who one of these people are, then you're cancelled. Okay?
Okay.
There's a lot riding on it. So your first one is Michael Rappaport. That's Ian's in, and it's $150. Okay, so Michael Rappaport for $150 will say, "Hey man, happy birthday, Ian. Hope you have a great time." He doesn't sound like that, but I'm just saying that's what you can expect to get from him, like a little video message. So, the next one...
Other than something that was like a terrible WWE movie, I can't really think what he was even in.
He was in Deep Blue Sea, I think.
Oh, yeah.
I think he might have been in True Romance. He's doing a lot of stuff. Okay, Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters. Is he asking for more than $150 or less? Higher or lower?
Now, there's a logic to this that's interesting. It's like,
oh, thanks.
How desperate is the celebrity for money, and thus they're asking more from it because this is a method for them to make money, or have they already been subject to the forces of to market forces, and their prices have already gone down loads?
Well, what you're saying, Ernie Hudson. I'm going to have to. I'm
going to say higher, because even though he's his main fame was a longer time ago, I think he's more recognisable. So I want to go $200 higher.
You're wrong. Ernie Hudson is only asking for $135.
Giving it away?
Yeah, practically. So the next one, from Jackass, it's Bam Margera, or Margera, or, you know. Is he asking for more than Ernie Hudson? Is he asking for more than $135 or less?
It's got to be lower. $50 or something like that.
Ian, you're correct. He's actually only asking for $65, which I was surprised at. I would have thought he would have asked for more. For some reason, I thought he'd be asking for a touch more.
He's hit rock bottom.
I hope he's not listening. Imagine if that's how he finds out on the podcast.
Yeah, he didn't know, but we just decided that he'd hit rock bottom. I think he has had quite a tough time over the past couple of years.
I think he has, yeah. Next one, Steve Guttenberg. More than 65 or less?
I think it's got to be higher.
Correct.
Because 65 is so low.
It is. It's so low. It's almost not worth it. Steve Guttenberg's asking for still a respectable $150.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean...
What?
Yeah, okay.
Out of the ones so far, which one would you like to get a message off?
Gutenberg and Ernie, I think.
Yeah, okay. Both at the same time for 185? 285, both at the same time?
No, I'll probably only take one of them. In fact, to be honest, I'm not paying anyone this kind of money for what you get in return.
Yeah. Okay. Next one. Ice-T. Is he asking for more than Steve Guttenberg or less?
Can you remind me how much Gutenberg was asking?
He was $150, same as Michael Rappaport.
Yeah, this is definitely higher. I'm going around the 250 range, but I'm saying higher.
What? Just a guess on how much higher?
At least $50 higher.
Okay, well, he's quite a lot higher. In fact, he's $350. So you are correct. The game isn't about guessing the exact figure. It's about higher or lower, and you guessed higher. And Ice-T is higher. And I imagine he'd probably swear a lot for your money as well.
Yeah, and, he's worth it, I think.
I think so. That would make my day. I mean, I wouldn't want anybody to spend silly money, but, that would be good. Okay, so moving on. Ric Flair, higher than 350 or lower? Ric Flair.
Oh, that's hard. I'm going to say it's going to be close, I would imagine. I would say slightly more.
You're right, but it's not slightly more. It's a lot more at $500.
What?
Oh, God.
And he does do the woo for you at that as well. And I imagine you're not prepared to do that because of your dog.
What, woo right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm okay, thanks.
Does that surprise you? I mean,
$500? No, not really. I think that's... Yeah.
Do you think he's
he's
is
had
he
a
the
resurgence.
biggest, okay, is he the biggest celebrity so far? Do you think that's accurate? Bigger than Ice-T?
I don't think he's a bigger celebrity than Ice-T, but I think he has a cult status amongst I can't think of what word I was about to say. Specific people, I think, are kind of into his shtick.
Like you. People like you.
Yeah, but also like American sports stars seem to be really into his banter right now as well, and they're all getting him to be in their sort of like team videos, and like rappers are getting him in their videos and stuff like that. His endorsement in some sort of like way where he gives you like a personalised message essentially is like a big deal right now.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, these rappers could do it for $500, so, you know, if they kept the cameo short. So next one, Vince Neil from Motley Crue. Are you eating something?
Just eating a cookie that was delivered to me during the recording of this podcast.
I mean, Ian, could you not do that? Because I will have to edit out all the crunching. I literally will have to take the waveform and draw out all of the crunching.
Do you remember when I would have chocolate shortbread every episode?
Yes. So can you finish your cookie now, and we'll do a little transition.
I think the phrase you were looking for was "put the cookie down."
Put the cookie down. Yeah. Okay. So Vince Neil from Motley Crue. More than Ric Flair. Is his perceived value more than Ric Flair's? Motley Crue. Vince Neil.
I'm going to say lower, but the thing is, I think his value is lower. I think he probably values himself higher.
Okay, you're right.
I'm going to say lower.
Yeah, you're correct. At 400, so still quite a fair old wedge. In the same band, Tommy Lee. What are you saying about Tommy
Slightly
Lee?
higher.
Really?
Slightly higher. Yeah.
Well, this is a bit of a trick one. He's exactly the same.
Ollie, it's higher or lower, not exactly the same higher or lower.
Well, what, Ian? What would you do if you shuffled a deck of cards and played higher or lower? Would you guarantee that you weren't going to get 2 sevens in a row?
That's not just not play because that sounds boring.
Well, look, you got. I'm saying that's a. You know, you should have deduced from that they would have collabed and gone, hold on a minute, you can't be more than me. They you know, you didn't think that through. Gary Busey.
Motley Crue break up again based on mispricing of the celebrity shoutouts.
Didn't they like sign a legally binding contract that they would never play ever again?
I don't know. Honestly,
I'm fairly certain they did. Because I thought that was the whole point of their last tour. It was legally binding. It was their last tour, and now they're.
It sounds like a movie adaptation of some kind. Never Play Never Again.
Well, I mean, to be fair, what they could do now is you know how it's like Motley Crue with CRUE. They could just, you know, go the regular spelling CREW.
Yeah,
that's a loophole.
You never know, it could have been a subclause in there. Anyway, how many more of these have we got to do, Ollie?
We've got Gary Busey.
Okay, I'm going lower.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely lower than those guys. Is he relevant in 2020?
Yeah, he's always, you know, he's one of these, like, ironic guys, isn't he?
Yeah. I
guess. But yeah, anyway, you're right, he's only 350, He's just 350.
350.
Yeah. Neil McDonough. Do you know who that guy is?
Neil McDonough.
I'm going to give you some clues. He was in Sonic the Hedgehog, The Marine 3, Homefront, Captain America, and Walking Tall.
I mean, the fact that I don't know him, I'm going to say lower than Gary Busey.
Yeah, he's only 50.
Wow.
Okay.
So
But
we could
enough about his age. How much did he cost?
$50. We could afford that. He's the cheapest on the list at $50.
Okay. We could afford that, but we won't.
Okay. Finally, we've got RoboCop himself, Peter Weller.
Higher. Got to be higher.
Do you want to take a guess at how much higher?
I want to say he's maybe 150.
He's 200. So Ian,
Okay.
you did really well actually.
Wow.
I'm now looking at Neil McDonough, and he was also in Band of Brothers, and he was pretty good in that, I thought.
Yeah. So £50.
No offence intended when I didn't know who you were, mate.
Yeah. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 correct.
Out of how many?
10. 7
Great.
out of 10. How'd you feel about that? How'd you feel about your performance? Was it a good performance?
I think it's almost worthy of a cameo.
What does that even mean?
I'll put myself on Cameo at $5.
Oh, okay. Ian, you should totally do that. Can we both
Why?
put ourselves on Cameo at $5?
And see if either of us get any.
Yeah.
Hosts of the Guys on Film podcast allowing you to have a personalised message from them for only $5.
I mean, it'd be a pretty good message, wouldn't it? I think. I don't know. I think it'd be well worth the $5.
Yeah, I don't know if it would be worth it for us though.
I mean, go on Cameo.com and have a look at some of the videos that they've done. It doesn't take them a long time, and it doesn't take any amount of preparation. So, you know,
Okay.
it seems like a good deal. You know. So anyway, Ian, you did really well. Let's move on to LifeScores.
Great.
LifeScore. How are you? LifeScore.
I'm fine, thank you.
LifeScore. Out of 10. LifeScore.
Probably like a 4.
How are you? Ian, how are you?
I don't know how to take that really. I don't know what tone you're trying to strike. Shall I go first then?
Are
Yeah.
you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah.
Good. Good.
Really, was that supposed to be the everybody's like really looking out for each other right now?
Yeah.
Tone.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good
Yeah,
overall.
cool.
A lot has happened with my dog since the last time we did a
Really?
LifeScores.
Well, I mean, that's why I'm here.
A lot has happened with Arnie since I spoke last.
Like in a good way or a bad way?
Just lots. So he lost all his baby teeth.
Ooh,
What?
I didn't know that happened.
Not a lot of people do. It's weird. I've mentioned it to my sister, and on a video call for probably about half an hour, she just kept going, "No, that's nonsense. That's total. No, you're talking shit. That can't be true." But yeah, dogs lose their milk teeth and have
Right.
them replaced with big daddy teeth.
Okay.
But yeah, it's funny because there was a little point in time there where he had teeth that were quite big for his tiny face, and now his face is grown into his teeth.
Nice.
But yeah, so whilst dogs are teething, they have horrible bad breath, so that's been a negative. But it was quite fun to find teeth lying around the floor of the house for a while. We've also added Play Dead to his repertoire of basic dog tricks.
Okay.
So we say bang and do like a little gun hand signal, and he falls over.
Really? That's good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
It is good, yeah. Ria's got some good videos of it. I'll put it on the Guys on Film Instagram account.
If you could, that'd be great.
Great content.
Yeah.
And last interesting thing that's happened with the dog since last time, just yesterday we got some new tennis balls to throw around for him, but they're super small because he's a small dog.
Yeah.
And normally he carries a tennis ball for a little while and then he'll have to put it down because it's too big for his little
No, he won't let the bugger go.
He won't let the bugger go, and so he did a shit with one in his mouth yesterday. If you can
Brilliant.
picture that, dog doing poo with a tennis ball in his mouth. In undog related news, yeah, we're in lockdown.
Yeah. Lockdown.
Yeah, in lockdown.
What?
So, been doing a lot of work from home.
Yeah.
I think
okay.
like you are as well.
Yeah,
we
I'm
were
successfully working from home. Yeah.
We were quite rapid fire and efficient in getting like everybody out. So I've been working from home for like 5 weeks, and
Yeah.
that's.
I think I was just
I don't know
1 week behind you, maybe.
Yeah, I just meant that like I wish we'd been slower at getting it all sorted, because I can't be bothered working from home when everyone else is like furloughed and chilling out and stuff. Although saying that, it's very nice to have the security of a job when some people don't.
Yeah.
So that's positive. But I did feel like there are a lot of people who are like, well, I'm just going to ride this out and enjoy myself, and then we're like working long days.
What is
Zoom calls.
furlough?
I think it's just like an extended leave, but that's.
Oh, hold
that's
on, my cat's trying to get out the door. Just bear with me 1 sec.
That cat's trying to be furloughed. Yeah, furlough I think is just an extended leave, but I think that's what the British government are paying people 80% of their salary for.
Okay.
So there are some people who are managing to chill even though they can't work and still get paid for it, which would be nice. But anyway, on that basis, I've taken quite a long holiday.
Okay.
Just to kind of chill out and enjoy it, and it's also just started being like nice weather as well. So
yeah, sun's
also,
out, guns out.
Don't know about that, mate. I think isolation fitness is more like isolation fatness.
That's what I was. One of the things that I was going to get onto is: do you see yourself coming out of this fit or fat?
Up until right now, fat.
Yeah,
I think probably
but when you've just heard me say that, you're like, that's really hit home.
No, even though I take what you say very seriously, it wasn't just that particular moment.
But it was a bit of that.
Yeah, okay, it was a little bit of that.
Okay.
But yeah, we started doing one of these 30 days of yoga things yesterday.
Yeah.
So you're going to do that. I'm going to do a bit of running. I don't know about Ria, but then both of us are going to do some Thai boxing.
Okay.
Bought some pads and gloves.
I've got pads and gloves. Yeah.
It's going to take me back 12 years or however long ago it was when I was actually into doing all that stuff. And try
so
and
you're going to get
properly
Rhea
fit.
to hold the pads, and then you're just going to absolutely smash them. Is that what you're saying?
That's the plan. Yeah.
Ian, could you just go a little bit easier? Yeah.
Shut up! You're learning. No, I think Ray's quite up for it as well.
Yeah.
And,
Okay. Yeah, Mandy's been enjoying
so
the pads and punching them, because it's just like, who doesn't want to punch something?
especially when they live with you.
I'm good to live with, I think. says man who doesn't, know. Yeah.
Doesn't know. Yeah, so anyway, lockdown's happened. Overall, everything's going fine. I think there's probably some pet peeves about how people seem to still just be hanging about in the parks and stuff. But
yeah,
overall, not too bad. Feeling a little bit like Zoom fatigued. I don't know if you're doing Zoom meetings or like Microsoft Teams or whatever it is that you do video calls on, but like you do a lot of that to make up for the fact that you can't just like kind of casually chat in the office.
Yeah, I've been having more meetings than ever.
I just thought, take 12 days holiday, mate. Why not? Like, extend the Easter weekend. Go mad. So,
cool.
I also kind of think, like, there's probably some prime summertime holiday that won't really be used because it won't be time for travelling for a while yet.
Yeah.
So I thought, why not just do that? So, hoping to be a little bit productive. I've had some beer and barbecues. That's the productivity so far.
Okay. Well, we're doing a podcast.
True. Yes, we are. Yep. And today's also going to be a dog grooming day.
Okay.
So we're going to clip the dog's nails for the first time.
Are you gonna clip its hair?
I'm going to paint his nails.
So I was going. You should have said yes, and then I would have said, "So you're going to get that fur low."
Anyway, I've actually shaved my beard.
Yeah, I know. I've seen you. You're down to a moustache.
Down to a moustache, so some of my fur is low.
Yeah, true. Cool. So what would you say your score is at the moment then?
I'm going to say 9.
You absolute arse.
Why?
I don't know.
Just
It's
during
just-
isolation doesn't cause me to have like a really bad time, mate.
No,
I'm
that's
doing all right.
true. I'm all right as well. I'll match you on that.
Why did you laugh at 9?
I don't know because it's you saying it. I'm a 9. Yeah, but
Listen.
I'm gonna match that. Ian,
Actually,
I don't know-
it's a 10, mate.
okay. So yeah, kind of lots happened since we've recorded last. I went to Los Angeles, and I had basically like a golden week where if I'd have gone 1 week later, I could have been trapped over there with like not flying and stuff. So that was a bit of a
Trapped in Trump Town.
yeah. So I had a look around Hollywood. Went down saw a couple of the famous stars and some of the theatres. It was all a bit crazy. I don't know if you've ever been there, but there's about, I'd say, maybe 400 yards of kind of like touristy sort of safe road either in one section, and then beyond either way it's just it's just you can
Cracked
tell
it.
you can tell kind of like a little bit about Mulholland Drive, this kind of seedy underbelly of it all, or just this sort of, there's this glitz and glamour, but it's a little sort of only on the surface, and then all around is kind of something a bit more like a bit darker, I suppose. But saying that, I did really enjoy my time over there. I saw a lot of cool stuff. I went to the Liberator pits, which is good.
Oh, yeah.
It was like where they're pulling out like loads of saber-toothed tiger bones. That was good. And like mastodons.
Is that featured in Last Action Hero?
I think it might be, yeah. It could be.
Yeah, I think they drive a car in there at some point.
I went down to Venice Beach and I hired a bicycle and I bicycled past Muscle Beach.
We are familiar with the concept of a bicycle. You don't have to introduce it.
I mean, I'm not
I hired
that
a-
familiar. I'm not that
How do
familiar.
you say bicycle?
Bicycle? Which is
Yeah.
pretty cool. I had an American cinema experience. I went to see The Invisible Man. So I mean, it's kind of, I guess it's pretty similar to what we have over here. You've now got the kind of comfortable recliner chairs in absolutely every screen. One of the things that's slightly different in the one that I went to, which is at Universal City Walk at Universal Studios, was that you just went and got your own popcorn.
Okay, and
No
and
one
how
was
did that
serving
work then?
popcorn. They just like literally, they're filling up bags of popcorn and putting them on a shelf, and you just go and grab one of those and then start eating it in the queue.
That's
But
good.
what I didn't realise is that most of them like salted popcorn over there, so most of it's salted, which is weird.
When you said most of them, did you just speak on
Americans.
behalf of like every single American?
Yeah, it seemed to be like all of it was just salted, unless I've got it completely wrong.
Okay.
But the other interesting
And are you
thing
more
that
of
they
a
have
sweet
over
guy?
there, I think one of the things that's made the transition from America to the UK are these soft drink vending machines where you can basically just mix like any mad combo of syrups together.
Thinking syrups.
Yeah, but over there they've got, like cream soda and root beer are like a sort of staple syrup that they have in there. Whereas over here it's just like your Fantas, your Sprites, your Cokes and your Dr. Pepper. But over there they throw cream soda and root beer into the mix, which is, interesting.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So I enjoyed it, and The Invisible Man was pretty good. I thought, like, for an entertaining evening out, I was entertained. I really liked the lead. She was really good. She convinced me that she was very paranoid about what was going on. But what I would say was that I didn't quite understand the motivation of the fella who became invisible, because it was more of a sort of Fatal Attraction weirdo stalker film than anything, with a kind of high-tech twist. I thought his motivations were really fuzzy and unclear, and I think I might have been up for it a bit more had I known a little bit more about why he was a dangerous person and what the crack was, but there just wasn't enough there for me.
I kind of felt very similar, actually. I saw it in cinema, and it's probably like the last week again of like when it was okay to go to cinema, and actually, because it had already all hit by then, it was like, okay, in the cinema I need to sit as far away from anybody else in here as possible.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was there, and then I think for like maybe 70% of the film, it was like, it made sense.
Did you buy 3 seats?
Didn't quite go that far, but actually there was relatively few people there anyway. I did kind of just strike it lucky in the corner of the cinema that I was in. But yeah, like there was a point in the film where, maybe without explaining the plot too much, but like there's a point where she had met up with her attacker again, and he was like kind of trying to apologise and get things back to the way that they were before.
I'm sorry.
And,
I would like for someone to say that they're sorry.
it was just like, where like they're like, he's either a complete psychopath, or this film has just gone from like 1 to 1 million in like 5 seconds. Like, it really, I don't know, like his motivation didn't make an awful lot of sense at all, really. No. So I would agree with that. But I think the execution was good. And I think
had a couple of good scenes in it, right? The restaurant scene.
Yeah.
That was good.
Oh yeah, the restaurant scene was good. And then some of the stuff in the rain with the suit, when it was like starting to kind of stop working, was good.
Yeah.
Starting to stop working.
So yeah, Ian, I just want to end life scores on two quick questions. What is the most dystopian meal you've had thus far during the current situation?
I did have some spam.
Shit. Really?
Yeah, I had some spam.
Okay. How did you have it? Fried?
Fried, and what did I even have it? Oh yeah, I kind of like had it as a replacement for bacon.
Could you not find bacon?
No, I think we maybe even had bacon.
And did you go out and buy the spam?
I bought the spam as part of an overall sort of like desire to add to the level of panic buying.
Right.
No, I just bought a bunch of tin stuff and thought, well, if there's ever going to be an opportunity to try this out, now's the time. So I bought a tin of spam, and it wasn't very good. I think it's got a weird taste to it, even when fried up.
Right.
And I spoke to my parents about this, and they were like, "Oh, you can just slice it up like sort of cold meat." I was like, "That sounds absolutely disgusting."
Yeah. That's the other way you can have it. Yeah, just slice it up like cold meat. But I mean, you wouldn't catch me having it. But yeah, I'm surprised. That's your most dystopian
anyway, right?
meal yet. Okay.
Why? What's yours?
Mine was Mandy and I had a Chicago Town mini pizza with reheated spaghetti bolognese sauce.
What?
Well, I cooked a spaghetti bolognese, so we had a portion of spag bowl left, but we didn't have any more pasta, so we didn't want that to go to waste, so we just had it with a pizza, and it was okay.
Okay.
I'd say it was all right. I'd probably have it beyond the current situation as a treat.
As a treat.
Yeah.
Mate, your life score should be 3 out of 10.
And my second question was to do with like maybe like biscuits or like treats. What quarantine treats have you got yourself in? When this is all over, what are you going to look back and go, that was the quarantine treat that I had? Stayed with me throughout.
Kept repeating on me throughout. I'm quite partial actually to the Tesco's basic chocolate. The Tesco's own brand milk chocolate is very good.
Okay.
Wow.
What is it, like 49p or something?
No, I think it's not basic. It's not like Tesco's value. It's just Tesco's own.
The middle brand,
But I quite like the value as well. It just isn't as chunky, and it probably is 60p. But this is, I think, £1.30 or something for a big bar.
Okay.
And it's pretty good. I think the real treats of isolation have been beers. I've had lots of small independent beer places that obviously aren't open and will probably go under if they don't do online delivery. So they've all
That's
started
what
doing
you keep
online
telling
delivery.
yourself anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, these guys can go under if I don't just buy myself another 42 cans.
I've really got to drink a lot, or I've got to do my bit for society.
Yeah, so I've had some quite good beers. That's been good, and also some quite good barbecue time so far.
Nice.
We had a beer can chicken actually, again in our Weber barbecue.
I told you not to do that terrible Jamaican accent.
Have you been barbecuing at all? I can't help noticing in your many garden-based videos that you have a very similar barbecue to the one we've got.
We haven't had a single barbecue because, you know, the one thing about being a vegetarian, barbecues are quite bad. Really, they're not.
Right.
They're not as good anymore. So that's a hangover from the meat days, and I don't really see much. I mean, I like a barbecue, but the results just aren't the same, you know. It's not. Maybe if you do like halloumi skewers or something, but
yeah,
it's not. It's kind of not worth it, you know.
I guess the difference is because of the nature of meat, like the fact that it's in the barbecue, like it absorbs all the sort of coaly, smoky taste and stuff. But
yeah, and it's got all the
there's
fat and it sizzles and all that. Yeah, but no, it's not. I haven't really
so
used it. No, we've discussed it. We probably will, but we haven't yet.
Okay.
Okay. Cool.
Fair enough.
Great.
On to the deep dive.
Did they swallow an encyclopedia?
All that data.
Wow, this really is a deep dive. I hope that information wasn't false.
Ian, can I ask you a question?
Yes,
What
I guess
is
so.
a feel good?
What is a feel good?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Actually, Ollie, see, before we get into the deep dive, I just need to move because I'm getting extremely hot sun through the window onto me, who's wearing a black hoodie.
He's the human barbecue.
You're fried. Okay, right, that is much better.
Okay, so look,
all right, do you want to ask me that again?
not really. So we're talking about feel-good movies because I think at the moment, look, I'm not suggesting that it's all that you should do. You should still allow some time for, you know, some cathartic, you know, bleak stuff as well, right? But at the moment, it's nice to watch a feel-good movie. And in fact, the first sort of thing that I wanted to mention is that I think some of the best selection of feel-good movies at the moment is on the old Disney Plus.
I think that was one of the key points on this deep dive for me was that now Disney Plus exists, it's almost all feel good.
Have you got it?
Yep.
I'm quite
Went
impressed
for
with
it.
it at the moment. I quite like it.
Is it Disney? Yes. Okay, it's on there. That's basically what it's like, right?
Yeah, is it Disney? Yeah, it's on there. Apart from the old Robin Hood Disney film is not on there. There's a few things that are not on there, but I'm enjoying it. So this morning,
you sound like a person who's been burnt in looking up very specific old Disney films.
But who doesn't like the old Robin Hood movie?
Day one, you stick it on, you start searching for Robin Hood. You're like, Got me
Well, that was
kidding
one of the
me.
first things, because that is a classic, and that is a feel-good classic. But this morning I watched Remember the Titans,
Yeah.
and that was a real feel-good one. It has got some quite bleak moments in it, but by the end of it, you're feeling good.
You're feeling uplifted.
Although I still don't quite get American football.
I don't think
understand
Americans get it.
It's like it's almost a little bit like, you know, the game like XCOM or Total War or something like that. It's almost like turn-based. It's like a turn-based sport. So like they like drop the ball or they get tackled and then they got to start again. They're like, oh God, right, do this move. Okay, so do the old, you know, with it and mixing the old, you know, and then somehow that works. And I'm just thinking, how do they know? It's like they go, like there's one point in the film where they go, they're doing the shotgun, and then like the Titans are like, oh God, well that means we're gonna have to do X, Y, Z, and then it just works.
The meat shield.
Just don't get it. Yeah, well let's do the meat shield then. But like in
If they're
Remember
doing the shotgun,
Titans,
we'll have to get the flak vest on the go.
like yeah, like no, like well, this is a big spoiler actually, but I still think it's actually a worthwhile film. It's really good. Wow. But the Titans in that season win 13-0, so it's almost quite difficult to kind of make the games themselves and the outcome sort of feel like it's all they're going to win, are they not? Because they do. They win every single one. What was feel good about it was that it was sort of two sides coming together, like black and white coming together, and they go off and they have these two opposing coaches. They're not really opposing coaches. One's offence, one's defence. And they come back from training and all that, unified. And that's kind of one of the things that I like about feel-good films is the whole sort of friendship, overcoming adversity. You'll notice in some of my choices that it's a lot of that vibe.
What are the personalities of the different coaches like? Is one offensive and one always on the defensive?
Well, so you got Denzel Washington, and he is absolutely like no nonsense whatsoever. And I just need to look up the name of the other one. You've got Denzel Washington, who's the new guy that's come in, and he's obviously under a lot of pressure because of the time that it is. The community are automatically just against him and his boys. And then you've got Will Patton, who is the other coach, and they kind of have to work together. Denzel's coach is very much like, he's brutal. He's almost like an army sort of drill sergeant. He's absolutely no nonsense. Whereas Will Patton's guy, he's a little bit more. He's easier going, but he seems to make all the best tactical decisions throughout the film. So it was a good film. I actually recommend it. It's a bit cheesy, and it's got one of the most annoying child performances I've ever seen, but I actually really enjoyed it. It was good. It was feel good.
Feels good. So I hope that is counting as your number one then, because you have spoken about it at length.
All right. But
choose one to take off your list, mate.
Okay, well, look, I'll take off. I may as well just say that one of them on my list was a film called Miracle, and it's a very similar film.
So you're just going to go for it anyway?
Well, no.
Miracle's one of your five now.
It's one of my five. But I'll just cut it down a little bit. So the official synopsis is...
The official synopsis!
It's the true story of Herb Brooks, the player turned coach who led the 1980 US Olympic hockey team to victory over the seemingly invincible Soviet squad. So it's Rocky IV on ice with Kurt Russell.
And so I think all these boxes are ticking the Olly's sort of requirements for a great film. I think Kurt Russell's a big win for you. I think sports rags to riches story is a big win for you. And anything that mimics Rocky in any way is a big win for you.
Yeah.
I think the other thing that I'm observing is you're really into sports films.
I love sports films, and I think they are.
How come you don't like sports?
So look, I'm not going to go on about Miracle. I think it's a film that's sort of a little bit lost in the noise of of all the other sports films out there, and it's quite a long film, but I think it's got some of the best filmed sports scenes ever.
Wow!
It's just, and I will put a big wow there. I really do think it's got some of the best filmed, I'm going to say it again, sports scenes ever.
Wow.
They're really, really good. There's a little review here, and I'll just pulling this one out. So this has got 8 out of 10 on IMDb.
Cool.
This is a rousing sports film about the 1980 US hockey team. Features some nicely shot game footage and a solid performance from Kurt Russell as the driven coach, but suffers from some formula moments and a clunky subplot with Russell's wife. And I just think it's funny to think of someone's marriage as a clunky subplot, like, because it's a true story. I just think it's funny to think of someone's actual marriage as a clunky subplot. Ian, our friendship is a
clunky subplot.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to ask actually is because when you first brought this up to me, when you sent your list of your top 5 through, which is now becoming a top 6, the Miracle on Ice image that I could see was it was like a photograph that was taken during the game.
Yeah.
So is there a mix in the film of dramatic scenes and like documentary, or is it all dramatic? Or
it's all dramatic, but I think there must be a documentary on it as well, because it's like it's a big moment. It was like a big game. So anyway, I'm going to go through. So this is my second one now. Is The Truman Show.
This is your third one.
All right, it's my third one. The Truman Show. Official synopsis.
The official synopsis.
An insurance salesman discovers his whole life is actually a reality TV show. I like it because it's about busting out of that rut and realising you're in control of your own destiny. I mean, I guess at the moment there's a little bit of a quarantine vibe to The Truman Show, isn't there? Because he lives in a dome.
Yeah.
It's pretty dark. So one of the things that we kind of discussed before doing this episode was that most feel-good films have like quite a dark moment or moments. Like in Remember the Titans, one of the lead players has a really bad accident, and there's a couple of people that get injured and have to, you know, sort of not play, and there's a lot of sort of racial tension and things like that. So I don't think you can really have a feel-good film without a little tinge of some adversity, right?
Okay.
So in this one, I mean, it's terrible. He's a prisoner. He's manipulated. Even his wife doesn't live, laugh, love him. Doesn't care for him. You know, morally, it's really questionable, isn't it? You know, she's paid to be his wife. Even his best friend is being fed lines by the director. You know, it's quite dark, right?
Yeah. Bing. True. To be honest, like I haven't seen it for a long time, but when you brought Truman Show up, one of the first thoughts of mine was actually, I don't even know if the resolution to the film is particularly happy in my memory. Like it may well be if you rewatch it now, but I seem to just remember it being like the director of the show, he kind of meets him and then it's like, yeah, your whole life's been a lie.
No, that's not how it ends. The whole way that it ends is that he sort of like suspects that something's going on.
Yeah.
And then he's absolutely...
There's that line there's that line where he says, "Something's going on."
We go, is it me, or is this all a bit weird? So he gets on a boat, which is something that they wrote into the film, where he has this kind of fake memory of his dad drowning when Truman was small. He was small, only a wee lad. So that's why he wouldn't get on a boat. But he gets on a boat and he basically just tries to escape. And at the very end, after the directors try to sort of capsize him and kill him and all that kind of stuff, you know, the sort of masthead of the boat sticks into the side of the dome. He finds a set of stairs and he walks on out. And I think that's quite that's happy. And everybody's cheering him on. They want him to escape, you want him to get out. And I just think it's, like it's a feel-good moment. And you want those big feel-good moments.
It is weird, though. Like, he has been held captive against his knowledge for the entirety of his life.
It is, but then he gets out, doesn't he? For the whole time, the Truman Show village, let's say, it's quite nice to look at. It's always sunny. It's always nice. Jim Carrey's very good in it.
Here's a related note from a film I watched just the other night, and I'll get it over very quickly, right? We watched Three Identical Strangers on Netflix, and if you do want to watch that show, skip forward like 5 seconds on your podcast app so that you don't hear my spoiler. But basically, there are three triplets that are split apart at the beginning of their life. And that's a great example of why somebody else choosing the path of your life is not a nice thing, because like their lives have basically been ruined by it. So that's what brings the Truman Show this like tinge of sadness rather than being like massive feel good movie. So I don't know. I'd need to rewatch it to see if that's genuinely feel good. Does it? Would you put that on it? Does it? I know, but that's the new brief. If it was films that made me feel good, it would be Alien and Seven and stuff.
I've got a little note here. So I've got a note. So Paramount was cautious about the film, which they dubbed the most expensive art film ever made because of its $60 million budget. They wanted the film to be funnier and less dramatic. Peter Weir also shared this vision, as he's a director, feeling that Andrew Niccol's script was too dark and declaring, where Niccol had it depressing, I could make it light. It could convince audiences that they could watch a show in this scope 24/7. Niccol wrote 16 drafts of the script before Weir considered the script ready for filming. So it was originally, I guess, a lot darker and more depressing and probably more of that prisoner, vibe to it. But the film that we got is funnier, is lighter, and does have a happy resolution. And I think you do have to have a little bit of a struggle in a film for it to feel good.
Interesting. I also have just read that Andrew Niccol got the best original screenplay for Truman Show. So those were worth it.
Do you know who didn't get the best original screenplay?
Who?
So the next one I'm talking about is Aladdin, official synopsis.
The official synopsis!
This is your fourth, by the way.
A kind-hearted street urchin and a power-hungry Grand Vizier vie for... or is it V or Vi?
Vi.
Vie for a magic lamp that has the power to make their deepest wishes come true. They didn't win the original script because during the course of the recording, Robin Williams improvised so much that they had almost 16 hours of material, and because Robin Williams ad-libbed so many of his lines, the script was rejected for a Best Adapted Screenplay Oscar. Imagine that. Just like...
The only thing you've ever written that's made it into movie form, and it's put forward for an Oscar.
Yeah.
Rumbled.
Yeah. Like, can you just... They're like, the Academy are looking at the script and going, where's this bit? Sorry, that's not... That line wasn't written down. No, sorry, I don't think we can accept this. Sorry. No.
These are two completely different films.
So
you like Aladdin, and you are talking about the original, right?
I'm talking about... Well, I mean, look, I like both, but I think that this... Like, Disney films in general are good for a nice one, aren't they? Even if like Pixar sometimes are a bit sad, like we watched Inside Out, and I think that's my favourite Pixar film.
Wow!
But it's tinged so much with real darkness all the way through it. But I think Disney ones are generally especially the early animated ones. They're colourful. There's songs. They're good. You can just stick them on, and they're going to make you feel good, right? There might be a little bit of a sad bit, but they're made to make you feel good, huh?
Feels good, yeah, absolutely. So what is it about Aladdin then?
It's just colourful, isn't it?
Okay, what's your last one?
I just had one thing when I was doing a little bit of research into Aladdin. Have you ever heard of like the kind of myths around the sort of subliminal messages that Disney supposedly put into their films? Like there's
lots of penises.
Yeah, in Little Mermaid. Well, there's supposedly a line in the script for Aladdin where the tiger is nuzzling him a bit too much and clawing at him, and he's like, "Get down, kitty." And supposedly Aladdin in the background says, "Good kitty, take off and go home." But supposedly the spoken line is, "Good teenagers, take off your clothes."
What? Fuck off.
I'll send you the video. You can see what you can make of it what you will.
No way.
Well, that's what they're saying on the internet, Ian.
Now I'm looking it up. It does look like there are quite a lot of these on Google Images when I put in subliminal Disney.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on here.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what then is... Do you have a final one? Which is actually...
Can I just give you one final fact on Aladdin? I like this one. And this will make you feel good, because Steven Spielberg was not feeling good at the time when he was filming the Holocaust film Schindler's List. So Robin Williams frequently received calls from Steven Spielberg to cheer him up. So he'd put him on speakerphone so he could tell jokes to the cast and the crew to cheer him up. Some of the material that he used was material that he ended up using for the film. Okay. And that's Aladdin, not Schindler's List. So he did, they used the material for Aladdin, just in case you...
It's not funny to make jokes.
I'm not making... I'm just,
Yeah.
I know, just in case... Ian, sometimes I just need to explain things to you, that's all.
I'm not sure that's true.
So I'm just gonna say another animated one was The Iron Giant. It's a really sad film in places, but again, so official synopsis: a young boy befriends a giant robot from outer space that a paranoid government agent wants to destroy. It's a film about sort of judging people by their appearances. The whole point was Brad Bird said the pitch was, what if a gun had a soul and didn't want to be a gun? That's what The Iron Giant is. I really like that film. I think it's really feel good. I think it definitely gets like really sad towards the end, and it's a big cry one. But like we've learned in Inside Out, it's okay to cry, Ian.
Yeah.
Okay? Sometimes you need to.
I cry all the time.
Allegedly, some of the weapon sounds used in The Iron Giant were the exact same sound effects used in Terminator 2 Judgment Day for the Beretta and Browning pistols. I mean, that's sound libraries for you. I don't know how that's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
It's rubbish.
Although...
Rubbish
yeah,
fact.
No, okay. Fair enough.
Bad
yeah,
fact.
it's not so good.
And my final one is Dumb and Dumber.
Sixth film.
It's a sixth film. It's a good road trip film. It's about two friends. I'm going to read you the official synopsis.
The official synopsis!
After a woman leaves a briefcase at the airport terminal, a dumb limo driver and his dumber friend set out on a hilarious cross-country road trip to Aspen to return the briefcase to its owner. Great friends with a never-give-up attitude. But there's a lot of dark stuff in there. But I just think it's a good fun film, isn't it, Ian?
It is, yeah. I would agree with that. I think the naivety of both characters makes it more fun. I haven't seen it for quite a long time, but I do understand it's on ITV2 regularly.
Some like mad edited version as well, I assume.
Probably, yeah.
Some of the more overtly visual comedy films, like some of the slapstick stuff, like your Leslie Nielsen, Airplanes and Naked Guns, some of the Monty Python stuff, and then I'd say like Dumb and Dumber and maybe a couple of their films like Kingpin and things like that. Sometimes you just want to have a laugh a minute.
Sometimes that's too much.
Yeah, but there are some frightening and intense scenes listed on Dumb and Dumber's IMDb page. I'm just going to read you through them just in case anyone was thinking about watching it. Just be warned that it's not all feel good. This movie is very frightening for children under 13 years old, especially when kids are 7 years old. What? I don't know what it means. When Lloyd rips of a living man heart off, and he puts it in a paper bag, is very scary for children under 13 years old and 7 years old.
Especially.
It's very specific.
Was it the 7-year-old that wrote it?
Under 13 years old covers 7.
I get it, Ollie. You feel like you need to explain things to me, but you just don't understand. No, I was just saying, like, was it written by the 7-year-old?
No.
Because then they think it's important enough for them to highlight the fact that 7-year-olds are affected especially badly by it.
Okay,
I don't even remember that. What's the ripping the heart out bit?
Oh, so he has this fantasy sequence where he kind of defends the woman that he's going to return the briefcase to, and I think a chef comes out of the kitchen with a machete or something, and he pretends to do all this kung fu, and then rips the heart out and puts it in a bag. That's it.
Okay.
It's just like a dream sequence.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So there's quite a lot of dark bits in it. So Ian, that's my lot. And I think Jim Carrey films in general are good mood lifters. You know, Liar Liar, stuff like that. So
yeah, it's good.
What are yours? Give me a 5. Be quick.
So number 1, I think it's very egotistical of you to run through yours all up front. I thought we were going to take this in turns. And point number 2, critique number 2, I didn't like that you had 6 instead of 5. I'll start off with Moana, which we watched today.
Is this the first time you've watched it today?
Second time I've seen it. First time I watched it, I was with my niece, and she loved it.
Wow.
And I really enjoyed it as well. I think it's really good.
Wow.
The official synopsis. Moana sets sail on a daring mission to save her people. Along the way, she meets the mighty demigod Maui. Together, they cross the ocean in a fun-filled, action-packed voyage from Walt Disney Animation Studios. So there you go. Have you seen it, Ollie?
I've seen it once, yeah. I took the children to see it at the cinema, and I remember it was a nice, colourful film with good songs, and, you know, it was funny, and but it did have, like, it did go dark, with a big kind of, like, lava volcano monster thing.
Yeah, and it was actually quite a scary monster. That's what Ria said today. She was like, oh, that's a bit scary. I'd wondered whether you'd seen it because your response to me mentioning that I would be covering Moana was nice colours. So you can tell that from the poster really, but it does have nice colours.
Yeah, true.
So this stars somebody, I'm going to like butcher the pronunciation of her name, but Olly Carvalho, I think that's probably accurate. The Rock, Jermaine Clement and Nicole Scherzinger. I think probably my favourite bit in it is Jermaine Clement playing a crab called Tamatoa, and he sings a song called Shiny.
Yeah.
And there's like a post-credit scene of him having a sort of crab in-joke about the crab from The Little Mermaid.
Right, okay.
Probably the
in-joke for you there.
One of the most magical Disney bits in it is Moana's granny turns into like this a ray, and like her spirit like flies through the ocean as a sort of like sparkling ray, which is cool. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Like a Ray Winston.
More of a Ray Liotta.
Okay. Rayleigh Otter.
And my sinister bit from this, I don't have a sinister bit from all of them, even though I want
Ian's sinister bit.
There's a part in one of the songs where they're singing, "The island gives us what we need." And somebody has a sort of like parenthesis in the background, just kind of like sings in the sort of offbeat, "And no one ever leaves." And that's the idea that like the current chief is Moana's dad. I think is like we never go past the reef,
right?
And there's good reason for that, I think, in sort of all the mythos, like it's dangerous past the reef, but it's also like a bit of a Truman Show incident, and I think you know what I think about that. So
I mean, there's
it was the
volcano monsters past the reef, so he was right.
I don't think he wasn't right, because you know she went past the reef and still everything worked out okay.
Okay.
I've got sex and nudity here. From my MTV. So like a couple of things in sex and nudity and violence and gore give you a very clear idea of how little there is in that type of thing at all. So violence and gore, there was in a song called "You're Welcome." There's a one-time use of the lyrics, I killed an eel, I buried its guts. Wow. Harrowing
Ian,
stuff.
Don't. It makes me very uneasy.
Sex and Nudity, there's somebody's taking the time to go on there and write something that begins with the word nothing. So in Sex and Nudity, there's one that says nothing, but then they go on to explain midriff is exposed on some female characters. So is it nothing or is it something?
Yeah,
I can't
what
tell.
is it?
And then probably the best one, when Moana feels a cold ocean current turning warmer, she is grossed out, implying that Maui has urinated in water. They also clarify here, only his top half is shown.
Yeah, so he's not like there.
Pissing everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my number one, in no particular order. Number two is a film that I think I've told you about before. It's called Sing Street.
Right, I've heard of it, yeah.
It's like a British feel-good sort of musical type deal.
Are all these going to be musicals?
Just checking. No, 2 are not musicals.
Okay.
Yeah, Sing Street, the official synopsis.
The official synopsis.
Sing it.
With the recession hitting people... With the recession hitting people hard in Dublin during the 80s, Connor is moved from his private school to a tough inner city alternative. As he tries to adjust a new way of life, he decides to start his own band.
So it's got a little bit of this kind of sports movie vibe, a bunch of...
As I've read that out, Ollie, I thought you'll love this.
Okay, yeah, I'm up for it. So it's got the kind of ragtag crew of, you know, people coming together and, you know, sort of uniting. I get it.
Yeah, I think you would enjoy it a lot. All the kids are like very funny, and the music, like some of the songs in it are actually pretty good. This is not a musical in the sense that it's like they sing about their feelings, but there are lots of songs. There are lots of musical numbers. I decided to have a look at Sex and Nudity here again. From my research station in my shed. A mother is seen putting batteries into a dildo while her son plays downstairs with his band. It is implied to drown out the sounds. And the next one's actually a bit dark. I'm not going to mention it. So I'm going to move on to my third movie, the Lego Movie.
Okay.
Oh, you seem really disappointed in that.
No, it's a good movie. Yeah, it's very colourful. It's funny. It's absurd.
It surprised me as well. I think it surprised a lot of people with how well it was written and how good it was. Yeah. And also the execution as well. Like the quality of animation is pretty spot on, really.
Yeah.
So the official synopsis.
The official synopsis.
An ordinary Lego construction worker thought to be prophesized as special is recruited to join a quest to stop an evil tyrant from gluing the Lego universe into eternal stasis. So there's kind of a theme with this one in Moana of people not being what they're kind of told they are, but then realising that what they really are is all that matters.
Yeah.
That's heartwarming, right?
Yeah, my heart is warmed.
Okay, I'm going to move on. I feel like since you took up so much time before that, I should keep this succinct. My fourth is Forrest Gump.
Boris Gump.
Forrest Gump.
Forrest Gump, okay.
Boris Gump. What do you think of Forrest Gump?
You know what?
Not arsed.
I'm not arsed.
No?
No.
I love it.
That's fine.
Yeah, I quite like it. I'm quite into most Robert Zemeckis stuff. So it stars Tom Hanks, Sally Field and Robin Wright. I think we maybe spoke about this before, but Sally Field plays Tom Hanks' mum, even though she's only 10 years older than him in real life. So I don't think I should bother with the official synopsis of Forrest Gump. I think if you've not seen that yet...
I think it's alright. It's quite long and... I mean, it's like one that you can just put on and just have it on and you know what's happening, but it's a comfort film, right?
I think it's a comfort film, yeah. And I think actually, like the fact that it's long, part of that was what I was going to bring up about it, which is just feels like the structure is quite meandering. Like he somehow finds himself in the mix of like many totally unrelated sort of historical events.
Things,
yeah, but all kind of seen through the eyes of like this naive guy from Alabama. My final in my top 5 is Little Miss Sunshine. This
Good
is a
choice.
film that I hadn't seen for absolutely ages, and people kept saying you should see that. And then eventually, about 6 months ago, I think we decided to stream it and thought it was great. So, official synopsis.
The official synopsis.
A family determined to get their young daughter into the finals of a beauty pageant take a cross-country trip in their VW bus. So this is one of the films on my list that's more akin to what you were saying about having to have the lows to make the highs worthwhile, because there's a lot of like family troubles in their trip across America to get to the pageant, and there's a death along the way and all that sort of stuff. But it's all worth it because the pageant at the end, spoiler, they get there, actually made me cry with laughter, and I couldn't stop crying like with laughter during the sequence of the girl in the pageant, because it's just like so absurd and so over the top. Like it kind of, you know, when you laugh and then you're able to take a moment to breathe, and then you just start laughing again, and that kind of comes in waves like 3 or 4 times. That's what happened, basically.
You sound like you're explaining laughter as like some kind of new species.
It's a particular type of laughter, Ollie.
Talking about sort of road trip movies, I did actually message you about this film. I don't think you really responded, actually. You'd kind of gone dark for a little bit. But one film that I saw on the plane to LA was a film called The Peanut Butter Falcon, and I highly recommend this film. So the official synopsis is not a very good official synopsis. Is
The official synopsis.
Zach runs away from his care home to make his dream of becoming a wrestler come true. So this stars a lad called Zach Gottsagen, Dakota Johnson, and Shia LaBeouf. And it's about a lad that's got Down syndrome, and he's basically been in and out of the care sort of system time and time again, and he ends up sort of an old person's home living with a pensioner, and they both kind of hate it, and they both realise they shouldn't be there. So the pensioner assists Zach on his escape, and then there's a little bit of a kind of Hunt for the Wilder People style. The authorities are sort of tracking him down because he's very vulnerable, and then Shia LaBeouf sort of picks him up. He's a drifter, he spits a lot, he swears a lot, he's a bit naughty, but they bond and they sort of have this sort of friendship.
So he's the Sam Neill.
He's very sort of carefree with him, whereas the sort of carers are, rightly so, very much aware of his needs and things like that, but Shia LaBeouf sort of treats him like, what the hell, just, let's just do it, let's just jump off this, or let's just eat this, or have a drink, or whatever. It's like this sort of carefree attitude, and they go on this little cross-country road trip to meet a wrestler, and I think he's actually like a real wrestler in real life.
In real life?
He's a real-life wrestler. He is... Well, it's got Jake the Snake in it. It's got Jake the Snake Roberts in it. And probably a couple of other wrestlers as well. But it's really, really good. I think it's really feel good as well. Everyone's like really good in it, and I think you'd really enjoy it, and I recommend people watch that one. It's very much feel good movie.
The poster quote on that one is the sweetest darn film of the decade.
It's Ian. Do me a favour and watch it. I think you'll like it. In fact, everybody listening, do me a favour and watch it. I think if you want to watch a feel good film, this is a real feel gooder.
I had a list of notable mentions that I'll just add. So these include Wreck-It Ralph, The School of Rock, Mid-90s, Hunt for the Wilder People, Dazed and Confused, and My Neighbor Totoro. They were other feel-gooders that were on my list that didn't quite
Did you think My Neighbor Totoro had like an undercurrent of darkness that was... I mean, it's a really good film.
About the mother's health.
But it's got a very, very dark undertone. Like, the dad is potentially going to be unemployed. The mother might be, seems to have, cancer or something like that. The girls are sort of fending for themselves and not getting a lot of the parents' time. So they're kind of creating this imaginary space to live in. And then,
I think that's part of what makes it, it's kind of like you can see magic in anything. In any given situation.
Yeah, you can, and that is good. But we've only seen 2 of the Ghibli films now. We've watched Totoro, and we've watched Kiki's Delivery Service. And in fact, Kiki's Delivery Service is way more feel good. It's basically just feel good vibes all the way through. Barely anything in it is a problem or like much diversity to overcome. It's basically just a very nice sort of film. But Totoro, I felt like, in contrast to Disney films, the problems that they had to overcome weren't like sort of spells over the forest or like, you know, anything too magical. It was, you know, somewhat very kind of real.
Are you saying that My Neighbor Totoro is gritty and real?
Yeah.
Good.
The problems that the girls encounter are gritty and real, whereas a lot of the stuff in the Disney films, you know, they kind of abstract away from them. So, you know, you'd have to kind of go, oh yeah, that means that, or that is that in real life. But where in Totoro, it's like, oh no, these girls are literally struggling with having to work so much and being sort of young and having to sort of work so hard and not get enough of their time for their dad and all this kind of stuff. You know, there's no leap. It is that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I get you.
Well, okay. Understood?
Absolutely understood. It's Ollie's final word.
Okay. Ian, name game. Are you ready? So I'm going to give you 10 names. The first name only. You're going to give me the surname, the full name. Okay. Are we ready? You ready to go?
I'm ready and willing.
Clive.
James.
Owen. Steve.
McQueen.
Steve Carell. William.
Defoe.
Correct. In fact, it's Willem, isn't it? It's not even William.
God, Ollie, get your own quiz right.
Sharon.
The only person I can think of off the top. Oh, Stone.
Correct. Bill.
Murray.
Paxton. Eddie.
Murphy.
Correct. Tim.
Robbins.
Correct. Jodie.
Foster.
Correct. Kathy.
Zeta Jones.
Bates. Simon.
Okay. And Garfunkel.
Peg. I mean, you did quite well, but I did put some obvious ones in there, even if I did forget how the quiz worked for a moment.
No, it's funny though, because some of the first people I can think of for names, like when you said Sharon, I thought Osborne, and when you said Tim, I thought Henman. So, not from the world of movies. You forgot what
the rules were. Yeah, I don't think Tim Henman has been in a movie. He must have been. He must have been in the Spice Girls movie.
No, not notably. Because his career wasn't that successful, really, ultimately, was it?
Not really. Okay. So, yeah.
If you like the podcast, then check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/guysonfilm. And we're on Twitter and Instagram at GOF Podcast.
Yeah.
And email us something.
Yeah,
please.
Come on.
guysonfilmpodcast@gmail.com. If you liked the podcast, maybe you could rate it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. Or chill out, do your own thing.
Do you feel good now? Do you feel good? Do you feel lifted?
Can you play us out with Lifted by the Lighthouse family, please?
Unfortunately, I haven't got any...
For rights purposes.
Yeah, I do not have the rights, no, so it will have to be just a goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.